In 1947, the threat of all-out war loomed in Palestine. With limited experience commanding large units, flying fighter planes, or sailing battleships, the Jewish underground fighters were at a disadvantage against the invading Arab armies.
It's a project called Toldot Yisrael, and the idea is to try and pick up where Steven Spielberg left off with recording the survivors of the Shoah by recording the stories of people who were involved in the founding of the State of Israel. And at this point, we've already recorded 700 people. We've got about 3,000 hours of footage, and we're trying to get as many people as we still can in the time that we have. We're different from the stories that from the Holocaust, but there are still some similarities. The way that I see this, one of the questions that I ask people, certainly when I ask diaspora Jews, is if they ever had the opportunity to hear a Holocaust survivor tell their own personal story. And most times they've had. I grew up, I had an opportunity, the Jewish community as a whole has done a great job with that. But then if you ask them if they ever heard somebody who was involved in the founding of the State of Israel tell their own personal story, and they haven't. I grew up in Bnei Akiva, I was involved, and I never heard anybody tell their own personal story about the founding of the State of Israel. And I said, how could this possibly be? This is important for Jewish identity, this is important for understanding, but it's true also for Israelis. If you ask Israeli, the younger generation, they haven't heard it either. When people start to question about the facts of the State of Israel, and they're looking at not at 1967 as the root of the conflict, but they're looking at 1948 as the core, well, we want to make sure that the stories are accounted for and told by the people who participated in it while we still can.
And these stories are inspiring. What do you learn from these people?
These stories are unbelievable. Each time we have a running joke where one of the people who would do the filming would come back and say, today, you're not going to believe, today was the best interview that we ever heard. And each one after another, people are telling these stories of what they had done, where really it's ordinary people who were in extraordinary times and had faced with these challenges really rose to the occasion. And amazing stories.
Being involved with this, coming to the day of Yom Ha'atzmaut, Independence Day, as we enter the synagogues and pray Hallel, this must give much meaning to your Hallel that you pray.
Absolutely. Every year, and it's just a real privilege that I've had the opportunity to meet so many of these people myself, and that record their stories so that others can hear them and share them for future generations as well. It is hard to be able to hear these stories and to see the accounts about the founding of the state and not to see the hand of God in them. And it's truly a miracle, and I'm proud to be part of it.
Then I remember the Mapilim coming from the shore. When you see human beings who have individual characteristics, they're not just concepts, they're real people, and there are the numbers, and they're Jews. They're like me. We're fellow Jews, and what they've been through. It was a profound experience.